Welcome to Tech Tuesday. My name is Abbie Richie. I'm the tech guru at the Smarter Service, and you can find me right here talking with people who are engaged in age tech innovation as it relates to older adults. It's a great place to be, and we have some amazing guests today that I'm going to bring on in just a minute. But first, let's go ahead and run our intro. Welcome back to Tech Tuesday. I am really excited to say that today I am in Tokyo speaking at Agetech X, and we have recorded this the week prior so that we could talk with you about everything that's happening in regards to age tech innovation in Japan. And with that, I want to go ahead and invite my guests on today. I have Abbie Shogren of Scrum Ventures, and I also have Yuya Watanabe as well. Welcome to Tech Tuesday, guys. I'm thrilled that you're here today.
Thanks so much for having us, Abbie. Really excited.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I came across Abbie in the ATC Age Tech directory, which is gold, by the way. And we started talking about innovations here in the US. And little by little, we just started discussing their upcoming event, which is called Age Tech X, and it's taking place the week of May 13th. So Abbie, could you please talk to us about the origin of Agetech X?
For sure. So just a little bit about Scrum generally first. We're an early stage venture capital fund based in San Francisco and in Tokyo. And the thing that makes us pretty unique in the world of early stage ventures is that all of our LPs or limited partners are large Japanese corporations. So we work with most large Japanese companies that you've heard of, and then many more that you likely haven't. And our goal is to connect these Japanese corporations with the global startup community, and we've done that through our investments, where we invest pretty generally across seed and Series A companies, and then also through our studio programs, where we basically pick a focus area. We've done programs in climate, in smart cities, in health and wellness, and now in age tech. And we bring together a really unique group of Japanese corporations and a really unique group of startups that are working in that space. And so Agetech X is our latest program focused on connecting Japanese corporates with startups, specifically in the aging and sort of health and wellness space.
Wonderful. And Yuya, can you please tell us what the goal is of Agetech X?
Yeah, so I like to show the table that showing the aging society, what's happening in Japan. So at the first slide, there's a graph showing the rapid aging of Japan's population in the left side. So you can see that in 2006, 1 in 4 people was aged 65 or older in Japan. And these trends continue to accelerate. And it is projected that by 2050, 1 in 3 people will be this age bracket. So there are highly rapid aging society is coming to Japan, and there's many social changes considered by this aging society. So the goal is to show the solution to solve the problem in the aging society by innovative technology, together with large Japanese corporates and global startups who has superior technology or apps.
Wonderful. And so this shows us a little bit about the business force. It also shows us what your trajectory has been like. And And now I want to talk about how technology can support the aging population in Japan.
Yeah, so in Japan, there's several ways to solve the aging issue or aging society in Japan. And one like kind of known solution is to use robot. And Japan has a long history of developing robot from like automobile technology or from automobile sector. And but of course, there's like, for example, there's robot supporting move from the bed to stand up or something like that. But sometimes it was difficult to bring it into the daily life because maybe it's too big or too heavy, or it might be inconvenient to use in a small house in Japan. So what's currently happening in Japan is to use the app or technology that is related to aging in place. For example, there's a monitoring system or monitoring cameras that always supporting or monitoring elderly if when they got um, or supporting their daily life, or to maybe if something happened, then somebody who will support or caregiver will come to the place immediately. That kind of technology is emerging in Japan.
That's good. It's really good to know because on this show, we have featured some of these monitoring technologies. For instance, one is called Helpany. And what Helpany does is it uses radar-based technology to track someone's movements around their homes, including fall detection. And then there's another one that we have featured before, and that's called MyCare. And MyCare is perfect for post-acute. So someone who's leaving the hospital, going back home and needs more in-home monitoring for vital signs as well as well-being.
Interesting. Yeah. So actually, in Japan, I'm not sure whether it is similar in the US, but every person don't like to have kind of like a digital device, like so to say. So they want to have like analog system or analog. So in Japan, there's many users are still using facsimile. So this kind of situation is happening everywhere. So, but that during the COVID-19, many elderly started to use smartphone because they cannot contact with their family, and they want to use a video phone or video cameras to communicate with families. And during that process, elderly in Japan also know all the benefit of using smartphone. So they are now getting into how to use app or how to use internet or so on. So I think those kind of application will be emerged in Japan.
Do you feel like the education piece is missing?
Yes, I think so. So in last few decades, what happened in Japan is there was um, fraud in related to
Right. Okay.
so elderly are not have a good kind of motivation to use smartphone, and they do not have education related to internet risk or something. So yeah, I think elderly are lacking in this context.
Got it. Got it. And so when we talked about monitoring, we talked a little bit about robots, we talked about education. What other areas in those 8 categories factor into different technology innovations that Japanese are experiencing?
Yeah, so for right now, you can see on the left-hand side, there's 8 issues regarding aging in Japan. And one of the largest issue in Japan is economical or monetary issue. So what's happening in Japan is that there is health insurance system, so-called national health insurance system. So every elderly can have support from government that who will support maximum to 90% of their medical fee. So people and it's kind of weird, but if you go to the local clinic, or even if you go to the large hospital in a university, it's same price in Japan. So people of course, tend to go to the large university hospital to have a more specified kind of medication. But so what happens in the macro level is that there's so many expenditure in the social healthcare fee as a result. So right now, government are decreasing kind of budget for the social healthcare support, and of course the pension fund as well. So what will be happen in next few years in Japan is that elderly person need to secure their assets or secure their money to live longer. But we do not have like system or private system to help that.
Got it. Got it. And Bobby, are there any other areas besides the ones that we talked about where technology is meeting the needs of older adults in Japan? Oh, you are on mute. There
I
you
would
go.
say another area that we've seen a lot of really exciting innovation and are hoping to leverage Smart City X to continue to improve the situation is in the issue of loneliness.
Okay.
There's a lot of isolation and mental health issues that elderly people around the world and in Japan are suffering with as they leave the workforce and stop participating in society sort of as actively as they were before. And so there are several technological solutions that we've seen kind of enter the market to help address this problem. And we're really excited about a couple of them as we look to bring them into the Japanese market.
Yeah. Are there any in particular you want to talk about when we're discussing innovators and we're discussing pairing them with investors? What kind of innovations are you seeing that are popular in Japan, maybe not so much in the US, and vice versa?
So as far as solutions that we've seen be really effective in the United States, that we're really excited about bringing to Japan, one of Scrum's portfolio companies is a sort of social platform called 222, which is designed to help people of all ages find technology, find community with like-minded individuals in a very localized setting. So it's actually an idea that started with Gen Z, so sort of the opposite of the aging population, but really focused on the idea of combating loneliness and building community in an increasingly digitalized world. And the way that the platform works is it allows any user the ability to fill out a really detailed sort of personality test almost, and then matches somebody, invites individuals to kind of customized gatherings and groups of people who are really likely to be compatible. And so we've seen that be a really effective with younger people, and it's something we're really excited about trying to implement both in the United States and in Japan with the elderly population as well.
That's excellent. And it's reminding me of the Virtual Senior Center. I don't know if you're familiar with it or not. It's also company that's part of the ATC, and the Virtual Senior Center is a platform that the Smarter Service teaches on. We teach tech classes, but it is an amazing community of older adults around the country who meet online, and they take classes and workshops and discussion groups, and they create community unlike I've ever seen before. And this type of community decreases isolation and helps create a bond that is really unparalleled. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I want to shift right now and talk about some of the most common mistakes that startups make when they're attempting to partner with a large corporation. If you could shed any light to that, that would be great. Yuya or Bobby?
Yeah, maybe I can share some the culture in Japanese large corporates, so that global startups can realize what will be happen when you are collaborating with Japanese large corporates. So there's like many main three so to say character in Japanese large corporates. So one is corporate culture of the decision making process. So in Japan, there's a word so-called kaizen or keiretsu. I think this is there is already an English term similar to this, but which means kaizen means you need to improve, not from innovation. So they are not good at decision making the new innovation or to implement new technology. That is one corporate culture in Japan. And also, there's what's so-called keiretsu, which means group company. So in Japan, there's like strong competitive during the strong competitive market in 1980s. They tend to create a group company, and they will do it in their own group company. So they do not want to bring new technology from outside. It's really changing right now, but there is still some companies don't want to bring new technology outside of their own group. Yeah, that is one corporate culture I want to highlight.
Got it, got it. And when we're thinking about technology and what's going to work in Japan as opposed to in the US, what are some technology providers or products that you've seen that have been popular in the US, but they are unable to take off in Japan? Bobby, are you able to answer that?
Yeah, I think there are several platforms that have had a bit of a harder time getting into sort of getting traction in the Japanese market, partially because of the differences in populations and how people can how people sort of relate to technology. So for example, we saw a company called Miles recently that Scrum worked with and had them help them expand into Japan. And Miles helped people get around a little bit more, help people connect, or essentially earn frequent flyer points for ground transportation.
Okay.
And initially, the business was incredibly successful in the Japanese market. But as they tried to expand into different sort of corporate partnerships, it was a much slower process than they sort of anticipated, and made it difficult for them to kind of get beyond the widespread initial success of the business. So I think for companies to expand into the Japanese market, it really requires a lot of deep understanding of what the Japanese consumer is expecting versus how consumers sort of treat technology in the United States and in other areas of the world.
Got it, got it. And Yuya, is there anything more you want to add to that inquiry?
Yeah, so I heard that there's hydrogumi is pretty much famous in Japan for elderly to get the hydration. But in Japan, hydrogummy is not yet familiar in Japan, and I think jellies for the elderly are more advanced. And I think the reason why here is that there's food widely used in Japan called konnyaku, and it's like a gummy things, but it's very similar to gummy bears, but it gets stuck in the throat. So elderly in Japan are they are said by doctors that don't eat konnyaku because it's stuck in throat. And I think that gummy is something similar to konnyaku. So I think jellies are more used in Japan, and yeah, I think that kind of like difference between US and Japan is interesting.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think the hydrogummy is a great way to boost your hydration, right? And also help with some youthful rejuvenation. And I just think it's genius personally because a lot of older adults struggle with hydration. And because of that, they don't want to drink. They don't want to have to get up in the middle of the night 8 times to go to the bathroom. So having a resource like a gummy hydration is going to help someone remain hydrated and also not become or get a UTI, for instance, because they're not drinking enough liquids.
Yeah, I think I can add some context here about the hydration in Japan for elderly, because global warming has made heat stroke as a major program in Japan. And as I said earlier, elderly in Japan don't want to use technology and air conditioner as well. So they do not want to use air conditioner during the noon in summer. So of course they need to take drink, but it's sometimes difficult for them to realize that they are heat stroke. So that kind of hydrogummy or similar products like that is also necessary in Japan, but it's still there's a big culture barrier still. So maybe we can support them or support how we can implement that kind of new technology necessary in Japan from US.
I want to ask you also about the use of over-the-counter products. It's a big market here. What is it like in Japan when it comes to OTC availability?
Yeah, so as I said, insurance system is matured in Japan, and the government wants to reduce the cost for the insurance medical insurance related products. So they are now promoting OTC drug and OTC drugs. Yeah, so it's now market itself is increasing, but maybe it might be same in the US, but Japanese consumers tend to use like trustful name or traditional name from the pharmaceutical companies. So it's sometimes difficult for startups or venture companies to get into the market.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective because if something is available over the counter, especially in the US, a consumer might be more apt to purchase it there because they have immediate access to it rather than go through the traditional channels of seeing a doctor, getting prescribed, and then eventually getting the support or the help that they need, just like when it comes to over-the-counter hearing aids, for instance. And there's a lot of stigma involved with hearing aids and hearing loss. And so for a consumer to be able to purchase those over the counter is a huge benefit.
Yeah, I think I can add some info here. So main kind of movement of Japanese is that Japanese are attracted to discounts. And so even if they need to wait for 3 hours, they will go to the clinic or hospital to get the same drug. You can buy it in 30 seconds in a pharma. So that's mainly the reason why that maybe OTC drug is a little bit hard have market in Japan. But in terms of hearing aid, I think the market itself is also increasing in Japan. I understand that in the US, there was restriction regarding hearing aids, but it's now kind of like it's allowed. Same situation is also expected in Japan in next few years. So I think that kind of market will increase, and of course, there is many known name for the headset in Japan, like Sony or Audio Technica or something. So Japanese elderly are also using those devices for to listen radio. So I think those kind of markets will increase by leading or taking the initiative by those large Japanese corporates.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we did talk a while ago, Bobby, about Mind Mics, which is more of a luxury product that you put in your ear, and it's gathering all sorts of health data. But so many people are already putting an earbud in that they're used to that. It's now totally acceptable, but it can also extract a lot of health data at the same time, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we've actually seen a bunch of really interesting sort of earbuds that track a ton of different pieces of health data at Scrum, including quality of sleep, which is another really crucial issue for everybody, but for the elderly population as well. So we really think that finding kind of innovative ways to provide people with more inputs and more data on how they can improve different aspects of their lives, and especially when it comes to being able to hear better, to see better, to navigate the world better. That clearly drives a ton of value to consumers, and I think it's about educating different populations on the benefits that could come from adopting those technologies.
I had a question about telehealth, and we haven't talked about this, but what is the adoption like for telehealth services in Japan? I know you mentioned that typically someone would prefer to go to the doctor and wait 3 hours or so, but does that also occur in the method of telehealth services?
Yeah, so right now, government moved during the COVID so that it's telehealth or telemedication and medication is allowed using the medical insurance. So people can use in a 70% discount to have a telehealth kind of service. But most of the usage are from population under 50 years old or 40 years old. And elderly are not using this kind of technology because the reason why is that, of course, Japanese are attracted to discounts and they will wait longer. But during this waiting time, there is community in hospital or in clinic. So they will go to, not to see the doctor, but to see the kind of like group in the hospital. So that kind of culture or maybe like attitude is affecting to the telehealth as well.
So good to know. Thank you so much. Guys, with just a couple minutes left, I want to give you an opportunity to let people know how they can connect with you. So, Bobby, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me would be through my LinkedIn. You can also, if you're interested in learning more about Agetech, Agetech X, feel free to reach out to me via email as well, which is available on the Scrum website. It's just bobby@scrum.vc.
Perfect. And Yuya?
Yeah, if you're interested in especially in Japan entry, or if you want to know about Japanese market, please feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. And of course, you can contact us via agetechx@scrum.vc as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, guys, I'm excited to see you in just a couple days, and I'm really excited to shed some light and expertise on age tech in Japan. And so with that, I want to wish you all a wonderful day, and we will see you back here next week.